So one of the few things that I'm actually looking forward to next year is all of the books that are coming out. There's low-key a lot and I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but I wanted to go about planning for my reading next year a little bit differently. So instead of just kind of like waiting every Tuesday to see what's coming out, I created a wish list of all the books that I'm really excited to read in the new year. And I'm going to try to keep up with this, but I did get a reading journal. This one is from Papier and it has a space in the front to put like your wish list of books. So all of the new releases that I'm interested in are in this wish list. So I'm going to try to like stick to this as best as possible. But outside of my physical wish list, I also have 10 of the arcs that I'm really excited about that are coming out, all the books coming out in the new year. And if you don't know what arcs are advanced reader copies. So today I'm going to be sharing 10 of those physical arcs and then 10 of the books that I don't have yet, but that I'm like literally standing at the door waiting for the release date of. So yeah, let's get started. The first book is Firstborn Girls by Bernice L. McFadden. I already know that this book is going to be extremely heavy. Here's why. Let me read the quick description. From award-winning author and creative writing professor at Tulane University comes an intimate and powerful memoir exploring inherited trauma, family secrets, and the enduring bonds of love between mothers and daughters. I love books about mother-daughter relationships. I find them to be so interesting, and I'm always very drawn to those types of stories. So this one I know is going to be probably pretty heavy for me, but yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. It comes out March 4th next year, and Dutton sent me this copy, so shout out to them, and I'm really excited to read it, but I'll probably wait a little bit closer to the release date to read this one. Next is Under the Neon Lights by Ariel Vincent. I'm so excited about this one. I've been following Ariel Instagram. I hope I'm saying her name right. If I'm not, somebody please correct me. But this is a YA book that's written in verse, and it says, get ready to lose yourself in this debut novel in verse about first love, skate tricks, and thunderous beats at the roller rink, and the painful grip of gentrification on the west side of Indianapolis. It sounds really interesting, and it's been really great to kind of see her process as she's like made this book come to life. So I'm really excited that I have this arc. She went ahead and sent it to me, so shout out to her. This book comes out in June. Doesn't have an exact date on the back, but June 2025. So I also won't be reading this for a while, even though I really want to read it right now. But if I read it too early, then I have nobody to talk to about it, and that's not my favorite reading experience, I'll say. Next is The Original Daughter by Jemima Way. This one was sent to me by Doubleday, and it comes out May 6th. Next year, and this one is described as a dazzling debut which explores the formation and dissolution of family bonds in turn of the millennium Singapore. Again, I love family stories, I love generational stories, mother-daughter relationships, so that this sounds like it's right up my alley. So I'm really looking excited to read this one. I've had it for a while and I'm waiting to like get closer to May to read it because again, I want to be able to talk about it with people, and if I read it now in December, I don't think anybody else in my circle of like community or of readers has read it yet. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. Next is The Family Recipe by Caroline Hune. Caroline wrote the Fortunes of Jaded Women, which I did really enjoy. And this one is described as a stunning family dramedy from the author of the Good Morning America book club, Good American Book Club pick The Fortunes of Jaded Women. This one comes out on April 1st. Again, if it's a family story, sign me up. I got this one from Atria, so shout out to Atria. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I love the cover. Look at that. It's so fun. Next, we have one of the books that I'm just so excited about. This is Somadina by Akwaeke Emezi. I mentioned it before that they're one of my favorite authors. I have every single book that they've written. I think this is their 9th book. I could be wrong, but if Akwaeke has written it, I own it. But Somadina is described to be, it's set in a magical West African world about a teen girl who must save her missing twin while learning to navigate her own terrifying new powers. I'm really excited about this one. I think this is Akwaeke's 3rd YA book. Cover is, it's amazing. I'm really looking forward to this because Little Rot was a lot for me, so I'm hoping that this one is like in a completely different direction. And it comes out April 15th of next year. I will probably be reading it kind of soon just because I'm in the mood for a young adult, and this is very high on my list. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Next is like a book that's so near and dear to me. This is Bibliotherapy in the Bronx by Emily Rumble. And Emily is Literacy NYC that I'm sure everybody knows, but she's always giving great reflection questions for some of the most popular books and just books in general that we're reading throughout the year. To me, Emily basically spearheaded bibliotherapy for me and has encouraged me to also include it in my own mental health practice and to offer it as something that I do with people as well too. So I'm really, really excited to be holding her book baby in my hands, and I'm really hoping to gain some more tools, not only for myself, but also for my clients in the mental health space. So yeah, this is like one of my most anticipated books coming out next year. Next is Yours Eventually by Mura Maznavi. This is from Dutton as well too, and it's described as a mesmerizing debut novel set in a tightly knit Pakistani American community where a young doctor gets an unexpected second chance with the first love she never got over. I mean, does that not like draw you in already? So I'm really excited to read this one. Low-key, I've already started, and I do like it already so far. This comes out February 18th. So yeah, I haven't read any romance in a while, so I'm really looking forward to this one. And again, we've got Pakistani American, so first gen lens, we've got family stuff, all the things that I love. Next is another one that I'm super excited about. This is Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson, and Charmaine wrote Black Cake, which I read the book and I did watch the show. I enjoyed the show. I think the show is done, which is kind of sad. But I really did like it, and I did like Black Cake as well too. In this one, it's described as a sweeping, evocative, multi-generational epic from the New York Times bestselling author of Black Cake. Multi-generational, family stories, secrets, those are all the things that I'm very, very, very into. Again, look at this cover. She's stunning. This comes out February 18th as well too. And I'll probably be reading this one soon because now that it's like January is in a couple of days, so I don't feel like it's too far out for me to read this one before it comes out. So this one might be reviewed here if I enjoy it. Next is a historical fiction titled Juny, and this is by Erin Crosby Eckstein. And it's described as a young enslaved girl faces a life-altering decision, navigating love, friendship, and her sister's ghost as the Civil War looms in this radiant debut. That sounds very interesting to me. It sounds like there might be a magical element, which I feel like most of these types of stories do have a magical element to them. I'm trying to read more historical fiction in the new year, so I'm gonna be starting with this. This comes out February 4th. This comes out February 25th, and it's from Washington Square Press. I'm gonna read the description from my phone, but it says, two unlikely friends hatch an extraordinary scheme to expose the theater world in this wildly entertaining and sharply observed debut novel, exploring perception, redemption, and how success shapes us all. I mean, sounds very interesting. I don't think I've read anything that's like theater-based in a while, so I'm really excited about that. And I'll be reading this one soon as well too, since it comes out February 25th. It's not too far from where I'm at now, so I'll definitely be checking this out. Now shifting gears a little bit, I'm just going to be showing the cover of the books that I don't have the physical arcs for, but I'm like equally excited about. The first one, which since the cover dropped for this one, I've been like, please, where are the arcs? I need it ASAP. And that is Immaculate Conception by Ling Huang. Ling wrote Natural Beauty, and if you were anywhere in my orbit around the time that Natural Beauty came out, that was the only thing that I talked about for months. It was such like a crazy, but like dark, an interesting book, and Ling's writing is so beautiful. So, I mean, my excitement for this new book is like through the roof. But Immaculate Conception is described as it's set in the fiercely competitive art world, a novel about an obsessive friendship upended by cutting-edge technology purported to enhance empathy and connection. Just based off of my experience with Natural Beauty, I just know that this is gonna hit. And I feel like because it has like the technology aspect of it, it's going to make me reflect on like our current world and AI and all of those things. So really looking forward to that one. Next is We Rip the World Apart by Charlene Carr. Charlene Carr wrote Hold My Girl, which I read, I think I want to say last year. And that book, that book was something. I had so many moral questions that were like popping in my head as I was reading it. It made me think a lot. I had a lot of discussions around it. Just for background, Hold My Girl is about two women who were trying to have a child, and they both did IVF, and then one of the people that was a part of the journey she wasn't able to get pregnant, but someone else did, and they found out that that baby was actually the person who wasn't able to get pregnant's baby, but she had already carried the baby and like had the baby. So it was like, who is the actual mother of the baby? And like courts were involved. it was crazy. Loved it. So my expectations for this one are also pretty high. But We Rip the World Apart is about a sweeping multi-generational story about motherhood, race, and secrets in the lives of 3 women. Perfect for readers of Britt Bennett's The Vanishing Half, which I love. And again, if it's a generational story, sign me up. I also love multiple POVs sometimes. So I'm really hoping that it works in the context of this story. This one, just based off of my experience with my girl, I'm excited for. Next is The Edge of Water by Olufunke Grace Bankole. I found this book actually on Day Beautiful's page. They did a list of their most anticipated reads for 2025, and this book was on there, and I'm really grateful that it was, because I don't know if I would have been able to see it if it wasn't. So shout out to book lists, they're very important. But The Edge of Water is set between Nigeria and New Orleans, and it tells the story of a young woman who dreams of life in America as a collision of traditional prophecy and individual longing test the bonds of a family during a devastating storm. It seems like this also covers some magical realism, spirituality pieces in it as well too. Like I mentioned before, I'm Nigerian American, most specifically Yoruba, and so is the author of this book, and it sounds like there are conversations about different Yoruba spiritual practices, which I'm really like always wanting to learn more about. So yeah, I'm super excited for this book. And at this point, if the author is Nigerian, I'm gonna read it. That's just where I'm at. Next is one that I'm super excited about, and the cover is absolutely insane. I mean, it's The Girls Who Grew Big by Layla Motley. I mentioned this in my 2024 top books. Layla Motley wrote Woke Up No Light, which is a poetry collection, but she also wrote Night Crawling, which is a book that I still think about very often. I think I read it at this point 2 years ago. To me, Layla Motley is one of those authors that can write anything, and that's such like a rare thing to experience as a reader. I feel like any genre that she were to pick would be written well, because her writing style is just very beautiful. I love it. But The Girls Who Grew Big is about an astonishing new novel about the joys and entanglements of a fierce group of teenage mothers in a small town on the Florida Panhandle. I need this book. It doesn't come out until June 24th, so I'm gonna have to wait. But wow, I'm really looking forward to this one. It sounds so interesting. Just kind of thinking about her writing style, and also just like about night crawling as well too, because that also feels like it's maybe similar in the context of what will be discussed. I'm not sure, but I'm really excited for this one. Next is Loved One by Aisha Muharrar, but this book comes out August 12th, and it's described as an engrossing, transformative coming-of-age story with a complex and powerful love at its heart. Loved One is poised to become an instant classic. I'm sold right there. Another type of trope or storyline that I love is a coming-of-age book. I love a coming-of-age book, so I'm really looking forward to this one, and the cover is also stunning. I want to preface this by saying I love a good cover. If the cover is good, if the font is good, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna pick it up. That's just me. I love beautiful things. Next is, of course, it's my most anticipated, and maybe the entire world's most anticipated book of 2025, and that's Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan, which is the 3rd book in the Skyland series and Hendrix's story. To be honest, and Before I Let Go, which is the 1st book, I didn't like Hendrix's character at all. I just felt like, okay, I didn't know if she was like necessary to the story, and she just kind of was there. I was like, I don't know. But in This Could Be Us, we got to see more of Hendrix, and I was like, wait, I'm intrigued. I want to know more about this lifestyle. I want to know more about you. So I'm really excited for Can't Get Enough. I mean, so is everybody else. So that's definitely on my most anticipated. Next is All the Mothers by Dominica Ruta. And this is described as a heartfelt, hilarious novel about a single mom reimagining what the perfect family can look like. It also starts the about part with Welcome to the Mommune. So maybe it's like kind of cultish. I don't know. I'm intrigued by this one. Love the cover. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It comes out in May. But yeah, this one caught my eye for sure. Next is Loca by Alejandro Heredia. Now, when they dropped the cover of this book, I was like, yeah, I absolutely need it. It's described as if Junot Diaz's critically acclaimed collection, Drown, and Janet Mock's Emmy-winning series, Pose, produced offspring, Alejandro Heredia's Loca would be their firstborn. Now, I loved Pose. I've seen start to finish, I've watched it twice. The last season always puts me like in a space where I'm just weepy the entire time. I love that show and I was so sad when it ended. So if this is described as to be their firstborn, I'm living for that. It also says that Loca follows one daring year in the lives of young people living at the edge of their own patience and desires. With expansive grace, it reveals both the grueling conditions that force people to migrate and the possibility of friendship as home when family, nations, and identity groups fall short. You know, I've said it so many times before, I love a book on identity. I do. I love it so much. So I'm super, super excited for Loca to come out. I'm definitely gonna be reading it. I can see myself doing a review. I'm not sure. We'll see. Next is The Hollow Half by Sarah Aziza. This is described as a brush with death, an ancestral haunting, a century of family secrets. Sarah Aziza's searing, genre-bending memoir chases 3 generations of diasporic Palestinians from Gaza to the Midwest to New York City and back. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think from what I've seen so far, there are going to be a lot of books surrounding what has happened in Palestine this year, 2025, and I'm curious to see how people will engage with the work that's coming out about it. That's something that I've been thinking a lot more about, but this is of course something that I'm very, very, very much so looking forward to reading. And last but not least, for my most anticipated reads for 2025 is Great Black Hope by Rob Franklin. This caught my eye because Kaveh Akbar, the author of Martyr, who again was in my favorite books of the year, he did a blurb and he said, incandescent, full of sentences I want to cut out and glue to my forehead. I mean, I was sold by that personally. It's described as a gripping, elegant debut novel about a young Black man caught between worlds of race and class, glamour and tragedy, a friend's mysterious death, and his own arrest from an electrifying new voice. I don't think I need to say more than that. I'm super excited for that one. It sounds very interesting, and I love debut novels specifically because it's like, I just imagine it's such like a celebration for the author of like, you did this really big and hard thing and now it's out in the world, and like, I'm sure it comes with lots of mixed feelings, but I just love reading debuts. It's my favorite. Those are all the books that I'm looking forward to. Well, actually, no, those are not all the books I'm looking forward to. That's a portion of the books that I'm looking forward to in this upcoming new year. There are so many more that I have on my wish list, but these are the ones that are like top of my list. So yeah, let me know if there's any books that you saw today that are also on your most anticipated reads list for next year, or books that you never heard of that have now made your list. I'm always down to keep talking. And if you recommend any that I maybe haven't seen or didn't mention that you have been like, no, you need to add this to your list for next year, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.